Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a special edition of Dark Power, where we're going to break down everything that happened at the Hard Times NWA pay-per-view. Now, this was a long pay-per-view in the number of matches that there were. There were 10 matches, not including the pre-show, which I didn't get a chance to check out, but I'm sure had some pretty quality matches considering what NWA does try to put out. Now, we're going to get into it, guys. There's a lot to talk about. But before we do, I got to remind you, hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. And please consider joining our Patreon. It is $3 a month at our base level tier. So this pay-per-view, many of the matches we didn't know really beforehand. We kind of found them out like a week maybe prior to. Some of them we just got an announcement for, and there wasn't a lot of build. So there wasn't a lot to go off of storyline-wise. But with storylines there were, NWA did do a pretty good job of delivering on them. So let's get straight to it. The first match is actually one of those matches that we don't really know that much about. All we know is that they're bringing back Junior Heavyweight Championship. We don't really know why, how exactly this is happening. Again, there may have been some explanation on the pre-show. I will say that. And like I said, I didn't get a chance to catch that, so maybe there is a little bit more explanation there. But here we see that we find out during the course of this match that there's going to be a tournament. And this is pretty much the qualifying match or opening match for that tournament. And here we have Rhett Titus and ROH's Rhett Titus taking on Austin Aries, who is, as far as I'm aware, not signed with Ring of Honor. So it's kind of like a freelancer situation. This is just over 9 minutes of a match, and it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good match to start off the show fast. It didn't feel like it overstayed the welcome, which is something that I like, especially in an opening match. It's one of the most important matches of the night. I've said it before. Vince McMahon famously believes that the opening match is the second most important match after the main event because you have to get the crowd going. You have to get them amped. They're already happy to be there, but you got to give that momentum. You got to push up against that momentum and keep pushing it. Now, one thing I do want to say is that they are back in the GPB studios for this pay-per-view, and it's kind of interesting to see that COVID has really done a number on us because this is the same studio that used to have the NWA Power tapings as well as other NWA pay-per-views, and they used to be packed out. Granted, the space can't hold a large number of people. I think it's maybe 200 tops, but this was clearly less than that because there are 3 panels of bleachers and only the middle panel had people and the other 2 did not, which was kind of interesting to me because they said, hey, we're doing this because of COVID reasons, but yet you grouped everybody in on one panel and they looked like they were packed in. It probably would have been smarter to set them throughout the course of the bleachers so you didn't have 2 giant blank empty spots or areas for the bleachers, making us really kind of focus and constrain, focus on the constraints and realize that you don't have a lot of people there. It probably would have been better for appearance's sake. But anyway, Austin Aries does pick up the win here with the Brainbuster, and he is going to continue onwards in this Junior Heavyweight Championship qualifying tournament to see who's going to be the next person. I know that Homicide won a Battle Royal on the pre-show so that he will be in the tournament finals, from what I understand. So basically, everybody's fighting for the right to fight Homicide for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. After this, we have an ROH tag team match, and here we have the OGK putting their titles on the line against Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos, our current Ring of Honor tag team champions. I feel this is a little bit of crossover with Fusion of Honor, but it's Mike Bennett, Matt Taven against Stevens and Kratos. This also was an interesting match, not because we really had a feeling that Kratos and Stevens could win, but more because of the story that was being told. This was a match that didn't really have too much of a build beforehand, and by too much of a build, I mean it had zero build really whatsoever. Basically just found out that OGK was defending the championships. So the story they told within the match was the culmination, so to speak, of the storyline of Kratos trying to get to Stevens and really talk to him and convince him that he needs to be more vicious. And we start to see a little bit more of the old Aaron Stevens when he was a heel that was kind of a riff off of Stevens' old character of Damien Sandow. So I'm interested to see how this is going to proceed further. They don't win, which is classic Stevens and Kratos at this point. But with the turn, with the change of character, kind of that shift backwards, I wonder if we're going to see them kind of get back to their winning ways. And if they are going to be heels, it does make sense then why La Rebellion are positioned more as faces. That leads us to our third match of the night, which is a singles contest. We didn't really know much. Again, I'm going to say that a lot, but we didn't know nothing about this match coming into it. It's Colby Corino taking on Doug Williams. And Colby's going to have Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky, the Fixers, with him. This is kind of a straightforward match of the young upstart of Colby Corino trying to take down the larger, both physically and figuratively, Doug Williams. And Williams putting on a really good showing for the veteran. Colby Corino is only going to get the win because the Fixers do get involved. Again, classic kind of heel. And lest we forget, that's really what the NWA is about, is classic wrestling, classic face, classic heel kind of action. Good match, though. Doug Williams doesn't really look as though he's lost too much of a step, and that's really important because in the NWA, Billy Corgan really appreciates older talent, and sometimes to the detriment of his younger talent. And at least if Doug Williams can go, then, hey, he can go, and the matches won't be that bad. But the next match is really good. This is a good one. This is Kiera Hogan trying to take that Impact Knockouts Championship from Mickie James. This match was really, really good. It's the same exact runtime as Corino versus Doug Williams, but to me, it just felt better. And that's because we had a story coming into this match of the level of respect between Kiera Hogan and Mickie James, but also a level of animosity in how Kiera Hogan tried to get this title match. It was really good. It was a really good match. This is one of the ones that I would say check out if you get a chance. Mickie is a talent in the ring, to say the least. And Kiera Hogan is somebody who is up there. She is continuing to push up against any expectations for her, and she is shining, and she's outperforming some of those expectations. While they were capable of, I wasn't sure how much time and positioning this match was going to get compared to the NWA Women's Championship match. So I kind of lessened my expectations, but given what they did have to work with, they knocked this one out of the park. And I was pleasantly surprised by it, I gotta say. This next match is our TV championship match. This one is interesting. Because if I didn't have high expectations, if I had tempered my expectations for Mickie James and Kiera Hogan, I'd lowered it for this one because I lowered expectations. Because we know, guys, I'm not really that big of a fan of Tyrus. This match is a no disqualification match. Scion trying to take that TV title from Tyrus. Now, there's a couple things here that are gonna annoy me, which is really frustrating because this actually was a halfway decent match. I was surprised by that. I gotta say, I thought that this wasn't gonna be as good as it was, but it was. Black G's Jordan Clearwater get involved as we expect. It's pretty much the same kind of idea behind the Colby Corino match. But what upset me about this was two things. One, they told me that TV title matches are supposed to be 6 minutes and 5 seconds, and this went over. And two, not only did it go over, it was almost 16 minutes long instead of 6. And it's the longest match on the goddamn pay-per-view. And it really didn't need to be that long, but I think part of that is because once you have that no disqualification stipulation and you start hitting Tyrus with things that, the normal body is not supposed to be hit with, well, it's going to slow him down considerably, and he needs breathers from time to time. So this one was good in that I kind of was like, okay, once the 6-minute mark hit, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And I think that having a no DQ 6-minute match would have actually been better for the storyline. Now, here's the thing. There wasn't really supposed to be a stipulation as far as we knew. Just a regular match. But if you add that no DQ, you're evening the odds a little bit for Sion. And on top of that, you are giving him a tool, an arsenal. Like I'm saying, it doesn't even the odds, but it's a tool for both guys because Tyrus can do a lot more damage than Sion in 6 minutes and 5 seconds of a no DQ match. And it just, I don't know. I think that it would have been better because there's just that, like you would feel as though Sion knows, okay, I only have 6 minutes. Let's just go straight let's get straight to beating this guy's head in. And that's really, the feud is supposed to be near that level of animosity. I mean, why are you having a no DQ match in the first place? But yeah, good for what I was expecting. Maybe a little bit more once they kind of got into it. But thus far, at this point, the match of the night, still Mickey and Kiera Hogan. After this, we have Jedias versus Chris Adonis for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. This match is just under 11 minutes. Nothing too crazy here. I really thought that Jedias was going to pick up the win, and they were going to have their national champion be a heel champion. I know the TV title obviously is on a heel, but I figured, with Murdoch being the face champion that's being chased by the heels, let's have a heel here, another heel, so that we have more people for our faces to go after. But Billy Corgan disagreed with me, clearly, because Jedias is unable to get the NWA National Heavyweight Championship from Chris Adonis. Now, I can kind of understand it also, as well. Jedias is, technically speaking, a heel himself. And on top of it, if Adonis were to lose, Strictly Business has only the women's championship. And that's not a slight against the women's championship whatsoever. But it's just that it's a group dominated by men. So you need to keep a title on one of them. So in a way, I do understand the booking, but a part of me just, I don't know, felt as though, what has Adonis really done with that title? What are a lot of these people doing with these titles? Because there's a lot of damn championships in the NWA, and apparently I'm supposed to care about all of them and care about all these champions. Another case in point. Let's turn to this next match, which is when The End tried to take on La Rebellion to take their tag team championships. This is a quick match. This is under 8 minutes long, and it feels considerably shorter. It felt as though it flew by, and I don't know. I thought it was all right. Nothing too crazy with this one. I said, hey, this kind of felt like the break match, a come down match, especially because we know that as we're building towards this show, we know that our final 3 matches now are big ones storyline wise. So let's get into them. First off with probably the best storyline. Yeah, probably the best storyline out of the ones that we have, and that is Nick Aldis taking on Tom Slattery. This is a really, really good match for the 11 minutes or so that it's on. They're two really seasoned veterans who know each other. And there's something about a level of comfortability when you know your opponent and you just feel just that love, that sense of ease you know what they're going to do. You know how they're going to do it. You know how to work with it. You know how to run those ropes with them. There is something to be said there. And it's one of the reasons why close friends turn bitter enemies storylines really work well. Because not only from a storyline perspective are we invested in seeing the face triumph over the heel, but from an in-ring quality standpoint, there are two people who know each other so well that the match is able to have more wiggle room. And in wrestling, when you only have a small amount of space of a wrestling ring, wiggle room, it's very important. So if Mickey and Kiera had the match of the night, they just get edged out by Latimer and Aldis. This is definitely another one you want to check out if you get the opportunity. I liked our next match, and that is Camille taking on Molina. This one was a hard hitting match between Camille and Molina. I didn't really think that Molina still had that level of physicality in her, but it was surprising. And as you can see in the background, there's giant swaths where there just aren't people, particularly on the right-hand side. It wouldn't have killed you to move some of these people over to the right and the left. But anyway, I digress. The match itself is really good. Like I said, Camille defending that Burke. This is, again, a match where we kind of knew the outcome, or we kind of expected the outcome. But Molina does a really good job of, as you can see here, targeting the arm, trying to go after Camille, trying to target that arm and the shoulder, trying to take away Camille's strongest asset, which is, of course, that spear. And it is going to be the spear that does Molina away, but a good match nonetheless. And I got to say, they are doing a pretty good job of how they're booking Camille. Like, her challengers have been, well, no pun intended, legit, in the form of legit Layla Hirsch. And now we've seen her going up against Molina. She's faced Thunder Rosa. I don't think it was for. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, no, she took the title from. But no, it was from Dee that she took it from. But either way, this has been a pretty well booked championship run for Camille. Granted, a lot of her storylines have been more of a plain kind of, I'm the heel champion. This is my face flavor of the month, and I'm just going to attack you. There's just something about, like, it's just, they can sprinkle a little bit more into there. But what I will say is that while it is plain right now tastes really, really good. Like, it's plain vanilla ice cream, but it's really well made, and I can't really complain about it too much, especially when we know that she's getting overshadowed by what's going on between Aldis and Latimer. I can't really hold it against her. And that leads us to our main event. And our main event is, of course, Trevor Murdoch putting the 10 pounds of gold on the line against Mike Knox after Mike Knox viciously attacked him at the end of By Any Means Necessary, locking him in the cage and beating him up in front of his son, who was on the outside of the cage. Murdoch comes in with a game plan of trying to hurt Mike Knox, and he's going to accomplish that goal. It was a short match, and that made one, Trevor Murdoch is not the best when it comes to cardio. Fine. Two, Mike Knox has not really had many matches in a long time. So they're not going to be able to go for that long, which is fine, because this is about the emotion of beating the shit out of somebody who embarrassed you in front of your son, hurt you, wounded your pride, wounded everything about you. That's what the storyline is about. It doesn't need 15, 20, 30 minutes. It needs 8 minutes, which is what this is. It needs to show that Trevor Murdoch is the man, and he's not going to bow down to anybody, unless, of course, that person is Matt Cardona. Because Matt Cardona makes his NWA debut after Trevor Murdoch has successfully defended the 10 pounds of gold, and he's here. He's here for that title. He's here to take over yet another promotion. We've seen Chelsea Green here be in the NWA, and now her fiance, Matt Cardona, has arrived. And Matt Cardona versus Trevor Murdoch, that's intriguing. That's intriguing on a number of levels. And one of the main reasons why it's intriguing to me is that Matt Cardona is somebody who has effectively manipulated modern media and modern technology. He's the internet champion from his days as being Zack Ryder. He knows how to work that kind of stuff. He knows how to go viral. Trevor Murdoch is a little bit stuck in the past. The NWA is a little bit stuck in the past. And maybe Matt Cardona is going to be the one who works a little bit to bring them out to the light. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that for that kind of a storyline, an old school, new school kind of clash, you can't really go that much wrong than getting Trevor Murdoch representing the old school and Matt Cardona representing the new school. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the storyline is going to be, how they're going to come out with this feud, how it's going to be booked. It's something that we're going to be paying attention to and keeping a close eye when it comes to Dark Power. So, guys, thank you for tuning in to this review of the Hard Times pay-per-view. Overall, I would say maybe like a 7. Because there were some presentation issues. Some of the matches we didn't really have a lot of background for. Billy Corgan was just expecting us to say, yeah, sure, it's a Saturday. Why wouldn't I want to see Colby Carino face Doug Williams? All right. And there just was a little too many matches. If they cut down from 10 to maybe 7, I think it would have been a lot better. Could have cut a lot of those matches that we didn't really know we were getting until like a week prior to the show. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Like I said, remember, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll catch you later.